Welcome to Empowered Ease, the podcast where we challenge the patriarchy by inspiring women to take ownership of their health, mind, body, and soul. My name is Jen Olinger. I'm your host. I'm a holistic coach, a critical care nurse, and founder of the Moonflower Collective. Each episode, you'll hear from incredible women, healers, health practitioners, coaches, nurses, and pioneers making a difference. Together, we'll delve into their personal stories, the inspiration behind their work, and how women heal and thrive in community. Discover how by uniting our strengths and sharing our journeys, we transform not only ourselves, but the future of health and wellness. So tune in, be inspired, and empower yourself alongside our vibrant community of women. This is Empowered Ease. Let's embark on this journey of communal healing together. Welcome back to Empowered Ease, the podcast dedicated to challenging the patriarchy and inspiring women to take ownership of their health, mind, body, and soul. Today, I have a truly inspiring guest joining us, Nicole King. Nicole's an accomplished author of Listening to Your Body. She's a certified nutritionist. She is founder of Balance Being Nutrition and a dedicated speaker and coach to women aiming to heal food stress and rebuild body trust. Now, before I get a little more into Nicole's history, I want to emphasize something about Nicole that I loved. I know a lot of women are turned off by anything that has to do with weight or diet issues because we've been berated with it our whole lives. But Nicole's approach really spoke to me because it is individualized to each person and also focuses on reducing shame and the self-talk related to body image and food issues. So this is a really gentle episode. If those are your triggers, I just wanted to start off by saying I think she's has a really different perspective on this type of weight loss body image journey. And that being said, I want to tell you a little bit about Nicole. She is a dedicated speaker and coach that's aiming to heal food stress and rebuild body trust. Her passion lies in supporting women who, despite appearing fine by society standards, face quiet struggles with food confusion, exhaustion, and a disconnection from their bodies in general. She intimately understands the challenges of feeling dismissed and stuck in survival mode, and she has navigated her own healing journey. So through this journey, Nicole discovered a path centered on self-acceptance, nourishment, and nervous system safety. Her work empowers women to break free from deep-rooted patterns, heal their relationship with food, and reconnect with their bodies, all without the burden or pressure of shame or restriction. It's an honor to have her here today to share some of her insights and to light the way for women seeking peace in their own skin. Let's welcome Nicole King to the show. All right, welcome, Nicole. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you started this journey and kind of why you're passionate about this population specifically.
So it's actually crazy because I got my certification in nutrition last August. Been passionate about nutrition for a couple of years and kind of getting, healthier. Kids and all that stuff. You want to make sure everybody's taken care of. And I got my certification, and I originally was just going to be another nutritionist and, meal planning and, all the stuff. And my husband works out of town and, he struggles with weight gain. So he asked me to make him a couple meal plans, and I did. And, he has a stack this big, like 15 different meal plans and 3 different days worth of them, and he just wasn't using them. And I was starting to get really frustrated, and it took me a minute, and I took a step back and I thought, this stuff is deeper than just having a meal plan. It's, there's all the things. I gotta exercise and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. And it's like, if I don't do those things, this isn't gonna matter. So what's the purpose? And I kind of, took a step back and realized like, I no one's getting my help if I'm just offering them a meal plan and sending them out the door. And it kind of evolved into, a little 6-week program. And I had my very first client with that. And it was really good, but by the time she felt like we were kind of getting somewhere, we were done. And it was, so I was like, this has to be bigger. And I actually wrote a book based off my little 6-week program, and I turned it into an 8-step program. And here we are, the skinny girl who struggled to gain weight and got healthy and just wants, starting to trust my body and what it needed again. So yeah, it was kind of just, just little start at meal plans for people to a lot bigger, which I, still think about it and how much my mind is blown on how much it's evolved since the end of January.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful story. I want to dig into a bunch of it, but first I want to ask you, so when you were kind of digging a little deeper into then it's more than just a meal plan, like what were you finding that the holdups were, or what needs to be addressed? Or when you were finding you need more time with people, what are the things that you're finding people are working on rather than just sticking to a meal plan?
Well, my experience is if I'm not exercising, then I don't need a meal plan because all of the things like you have to be lifting weights or doing the cardio. And if you're not, then, and it's just like eating things. And a lot of people don't know when they're full, they don't know when they're eating out of like an emotional distress. We're always told growing up that if you're a good girl, you can have a treat or, all these things. So the food has a deeper emotional, we're finish all the food on your plate, overeating. And it just, it just was a whole bigger picture. And, I started learning myself by tracking macros. I thought I had to be strict with it to learn how to be full and what to eat, because I was always starving. So I just ate food. And being skinny, you can eat whatever you want, but it doesn't mean that you're healthy. So once I started tracking for myself and recognizing what fullness felt like and how to stay full longer and all that, I started learning how to trust myself again. And I actually got into intuitive eating. So now I know what it feels like to be full. I know what my body needs when I sit down and listen instead of just like, oh, I need to eat something and I stuff it in my body.
So it sounds like you're addressing some of like the more, I would say like, what do you call that? Subconscious like programming about our beliefs
Yeah.
about food, and also a touch of like the connection we have with our body. I know that certain traumas and medical conditions of people out of survival disconnect from their body. Also, yeah, traumas. We just some people disconnect from their bodies, and forging that connection can be a really intense emotional process, but it's necessary to address some of these like nutrition and health issues.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the other thing too I know is like, no one taught me how to eat. When we were growing up, we had a vegetable, a protein, and a starch at every meal. There was no, like eating whole foods. We had sidekicks and cheese whiz and all the things, and they taste good, but they don't nourish your body, and you're consistently eating because of all those things. And it just, for me, it's like, because we had all those things as kids, the nostalgia and the feel good. And like my side of the family on my dad's side they're very thin, and everyone's okay with it because we're what everyone strives to be, skinny. Everyone has this like, you don't need to go to the gym because you're skinny and you can eat whatever you want, you're so lucky. And it took a really long time for me to realize that just because I was skinny didn't mean I was actually healthy or felt good. Like, there's a lot of people I know, I couldn't run to the end of my driveway and back without feeling like I was going to have a heart attack.
That's what I was
um,
going to ask you. How do you
yeah,
define health then, right? How are we defining?
yeah, yeah. So, and that's the thing with my dad's side of my dad's side of the family is, my dad is napping multiple times a day on his days off because he's eating food, but it's not fueling him. It is depleting him. It's probably stuff his body can't handle to process. It's bogging him down. And that's when I realized just because we're skinny doesn't mean anything. It's still, we still need to look after ourselves and take care of what we eat, regardless of what we can and can't eat.
So educating yourselves about like nutrition and what's actually fueling your body.
Yeah.
So what are some of the steps that your book or your program takes people through?
So, my first step starts with just the foundations of being, and it's just starting to learn how to get back to getting in touch, doing breath work, and sitting in. My work involves reflection questions and journal prompts
Mm-hmm.
throughout the whole program. So, each step has its unique questions based on. So, foundations of being is just kind of just slowly gently checking in with things and like asking deeper questions about like yourself and why you're doing some of the things. And then step two, we get into emotions a little bit more and starting to kind of track your emotions with some of your food choices. But it's not about being judgmental or being hard on yourself. It's just like, okay, why am I doing this? And like, when I do this, why, what are maybe the things in the background happening? Is there background noise where you're like intuitively checking out because that you shouldn't be making the choices? And most of us growing up, we have like three emotions. It's like happy, sad, and angry. And there's a whole bunch more going on. So learning how to get back in tune with emotions. And then my third step is movement as expression, because going to the gym is wonderful if that's your jam, but we're programmed and taught that like if you're not doing excessive amounts of cardio and burning all the calories and doing all this stuff, that it just doesn't count as moving. And you can clean your house and you can get a good workout in cleaning your house. Like you can go for a really good walk. There's a whole bunch of things you can do that counts as movement. It doesn't have to be a hard workout at the gym.
Yeah.
And then pulling it in is creating sustainable patterns. So building off of your already things you do. So if in the morning you make coffee, doing a couple minutes of breath work while your coffee's brewing, or doing some stretching or doing things like that, and just building little things that help you connect back with yourself while you're already doing things. And then boundaries and learning how to take care of all this stuff on your own once you take off on your own. So I just build on the steps throughout my program, and there's 8 of them. So
I love that. I love your description of your program because I think like when we start to talk about nutrition, a lot of people think dieting and it's like an ick word. Like I have like my good friend, like anything involved in where she thinks they're going to talk about diet, she's like, nope, out, not at all. And it's due to her own personal battles where she's been very focused on it. And I can speak now at the age I am now, like I have a very good, healthy relationship with my body, and I don't have it. Like it's rarely an issue. But I will say that I spent like my entire 20s, and I would say maybe my entire 30s, very focused on my body all the time. And I know it wasn't like I wasn't very skinny. I wasn't super overweight either. But I know for a lot of women and men too that our bodies and food is something we're constantly aware of and shaming ourselves about. Like we're almost in our own way. And what I love about your program is that it's a personal approach because I think that is the key to a lot of things nowadays. People are finding out for themselves what's working. You're encouraging people to take a look inward and really find those answers for themselves.
yeah, well, we're all unique. We all have different needs and wants and desires and dreams, and our bodies are the same. Like what works for one person doesn't work for someone else. And I cringe nowadays at hearing like, oh, I'm doing, the carnivore diet, or I'm doing keto, and it's always a quick fix and it's not sustainable. And 9 times out of 10, you don't come off of it properly. So everything you did, everything you worked for, all the weight you lost or whatever your reasoning behind comes back times 10, and you're more frustrated. And I have a friend who did keto and she was really successful, but she's in her 50s and she has hormonal things going on with menopause. And she lost all the weight and stopped doing keto and loosely stuck with it and put all of the weight back on and tried to do keto again. And her body won't go into ketosis like it did before because it's not meant to be a lifestyle. It's what is a sustainable lifestyle? I have like an 80-20 rule with my clients too, where 80% of your food needs to be wholesome, good, healthy stuff. And then there's room for 20% if you want to go out for dinner, or you want to order pizza, or you want to have a glass of wine, or whatever you want to do. Like there has to be flexibility because anything that's rigid and restricted is not sustainable. We get to a rebellious part of our life where we're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Like this is stupid. And then everything goes out the window and then you're starting at ground zero. You've thrown everything you've done away because it's too rigid and restricted and it's not manageable. And I don't want that for people. I want them to find their rhythm and know that if they have a whole week where they ate like crap because they were on vacation, that it's okay. Like,
So I love that you say that though, because shame is such a powerful factor in holding people back, and it's really something we inflict on ourselves. It's 100% something we inflict on ourselves. We like, and I love that you're talking about these strict diets too, because that's something. Luckily, I've always known about myself is that I can't stick to strict things, or I definitely will sabotage. But I think a lot of people fall into that trap, and it's really the key to happiness, to developing a relationship with yourself, to all of those things, to finding balance, is finding sustainable ways, and also educating yourself, because you don't have to eat what your healthy things are that you love can look very different from like what your husband probably healthy eats and loves. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. Well, one of the other things I found is that, are you doing it for yourself? Or are you doing it because everybody else wants you to look a certain way? And at the end of the day, if that's the case, somebody's always going to have something to say about what you look like or what you eat, or, all of the things. Somebody's always going to have something to say. So are you doing it because somebody made you feel like you had to? Because like at one point I was going to the gym and I'm super proud of myself for everything. Wasn't aware I was capable of putting muscle on like I did and being as strong as I was. I didn't do it for myself though. I was trying to prove to the world that I was not this skinny little girl and I could, build muscle and be strong and I wasn't weak. And, I did really good for 6 or 8 months. I did really good and I put on some good muscle, but I was following macros to the T and restricting, things. And, at that point, that's when I kind of took a step back and I was like, this isn't about me. This is about everybody else. Like, I will go back to the gym. I'm still working through that right now myself, where, like I'm not in a place mentally where I can go to the gym and do it for myself. I'm still trying to prove to the world that I'm not this skinny little girl. And until I've fully worked through my own things, I have decided the gym is not a place for me to be. so yeah, so like that's part of it as well too. Are you doing it for you, or are you doing it because of everybody else?
I love that. I can relate. Like, I think that the gym also is like a real source of trauma for a lot of people. Personally, like my dad used to drag us in there when we were little, and I am so uncomfortable in a gym setting. I also spent like a ridiculous amount of time in college being forced to be in one like twice a day when I did college sports. So it was like, now walking in a gym, I like have had a panic attack working out with my husband before, and he's like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's this place. Like, it's this place. I can't." It just stresses me out. So there's a lot that may sound silly, but it's true. Like, a lot of us have some very big sensitivities around gyms, nutrition, our bodies. So this is a huge topic for a lot of people. A lot of us don't like it though. Like, we want to.
Yeah. Well, and that's true, right? But it's just like, get in there and do the work for yourself. What do you want to do? What makes you happy? Like it's like finding your dream career. It's the same deal. It's in a different area. What
Finding
makes
your
you
why
happy?
for you. Yeah.
Yeah. No
And
matter
we
what
know
it is,
you have to
what's
be
your why?
healthy
Yeah.
to to engage it, like to be happy. A lot of times health is a big part of that. It holds you back if you're not healthy. And you hit a certain age, ICU nurse telling you this year, like it starts catching up with you. And the end of your people's lives look very different, determined on how they address their nutrition and their physical health. And that's not saying like go to the gym every day. That's saying like
Yeah.
get out in the sun and walk and eat some vegetables.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there are things, like just learning to look at in the ingredients and things and deciding, like tracking, like after you eat something, like not tracking what you ate and how much you ate, but like writing down if you're starting to feel foggy brained and things, like write down what you're eating and start tracking the things and start trying to pinpoint, like, okay, is it this food or is it something in this food? We switched flours. We have a local source here. There's a farm and they do stone milled flour, and um, it's it's not processed with all the chemicals that they put. Like flour from the grocery store is treated with Roundup. They dry the flour out with that. So when you're baking, you might be baking at home, but still feeling like you have to cut out gluten. It might not be it might be the chemicals they've treated the flour with. So like just starting to check in with some of the things you're eating and doing. You don't have to cut out bread, and you don't have to cut the gluten out, and you don't have to cut the things out. Where's it coming from and what's in it?
Yeah, focusing on what's making you feel good and when you don't feel good. Honestly, I don't even think you have to try that hard if you draw those connections. It's not effort anymore. Like,
Yeah,
it's in your brain. Like, I'm either willing to feel bad for this today or I'm not. And then it puts the power in your hands. And I like that a lot.
right. Well, and energetically, sometimes you're in a place where that thing normally would make you feel bad and you can have it and you're okay.
Yeah, it's
But
worth
if
it.
you're
It's worth it
constantly,
today. I'm doing this empowered. I'm choosing this. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And if you're, it's like there's days where you need extra whole foods and extra nutrition and extra love. And there's days where you can just kind of be wishy-washy and it's okay. Like I just, it just, all this structure and rigid rule stuff just makes me, I'm like, it doesn't have to be this hard. It
It
doesn't
was
have to
not
be this hard.
sustainable. It's not
No.
sustainable. Life happens and we have to be able to move and we have to know how to pick ourselves back up and know ourselves. Like we have to really know ourselves to be
Yeah.
successful at a lot of things.
And knowing when to not have to pick yourself back up and give yourself that time to be down and be okay with it, because the world doesn't allow rest or slowing down either. You
I'm
got to
so
slow
glad you
down.
said that because it's an essential part of health and it is like if you're shaming yourself while you can't get off the couch, you're not resting either. Like we have to allow ourselves to rest. Like if your
Yeah.
body's telling you like I don't want to move today. Don't, if you can, don't move.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
be like happy that you're able to give that to yourself.
Yeah, I have a client that we worked through that. Movement as expression is step 3 in my program, but we've had to work it throughout her whole program because she is in her early 40s, and whole life is like, you got to move, you got to exercise, you got to do this, or you didn't do anything. And she's I'm so proud of the work, like how far she's come, because she works a demanding job. She works at a daycare. She's with little people all day long.
Oh,
It's mentally
making
demanding,
happen,
physically,
Brandy.
yeah, and mental, like the mental exhaustion. And she's upgrading her schooling right now for her young childhood development. And, she's doing so many things. And then she's like, but I didn't get 10,000 steps in today. My watch didn't. And I said, well, what did you get in today then? And she said, well, about 7,500. I said, so set your watch to 7,000 steps and celebrate the fact that you got 7,000 steps instead of being like, well, I didn't hit 10,000. You hit 7,000 and you did a whole bunch of other things. And now you're tired. Your body's tired. You had a physically demanding day, a mentally demanding day, an emotionally demanding day, depending on where the kids are. They're little people, they have emotions, and be okay with sitting down when you get home and taking 15 minutes and just breathing through your life. Like just pause. It's okay. And we've been practicing the pause technique with her, where she doesn't make any decisions when she's, talking to people about making plans or doing things. And I said, pause, tell them, I need to see what's going on in my life right now. And I will get back to you and, decide if it's 15 minutes, an hour, if they need a deadline. And if it's a no, like if right away your body says no, it's a no. You don't have to say yes. And if those people get mad at you, then those people don't understand things, and that's okay. Like, that's their issue to work through. And so she's been working on the pause method, and she said, she's put a lot of boundaries down on doing things and like that she wants to do. And if, obviously there's times we need to step up and help other people, and it's not really about us. Some days there are days where you just have to be there for people, but people are always expecting everyone else to be there for them, and they're not there for you. So when is that balance, and where do you set the boundary? So it's been pretty amazing to watch that unfold with the pause and the exercise.
I love that. I love that. It's so funny that you say that, because today a really good friend of mine sent me this. She's like, you're not going to believe what I did today. Because she's like that. She's like I envy her ability to self-motivate, but she does it at her own detriment. Like, she sets a goal for herself. She finishes it, whether she has to drag herself through it most of the time. Right. And she's a big Peloton girl. And she sent me this alert saying she broke her 251-day streak by taking a day off. And she took her smartwatch off, and she's like, I'm rearranging what I'm doing in my life. Now, mind you, she runs a rescue farm where she has like goats, a horse, a pony. Like, she's out there every day, like doing this. She's so active. And I was just like, huge moment, because she's like, I did it. I'm finally like letting this shit go, because it's like a lot of us hold ourselves to unreasonable standards. Like, is it really helping us? Is it really what we need? Is it really health?
Well, it's mostly exterior. It's mostly exterior. What we see on TV, the commercials, the ads, the people that have been doing stuff, like, there are people that are wired and built for that kind of life, and that's okay. But like, not everybody is. It's unrealistic to think that you're going to be that way. And taking your watch off.
You're exhausted. If you're exhausted, are you healthy? No.
Well, and that's the thing. There's so many people I know that their weight gain is stress, and the stress is exhaustion, and the exhaustion is because they don't stop. They think they have to, like, my husband struggles so hard with that. Like, he's wired to be a provider, and I love him to death for that. But it's like, there's days I'm like, what are you do? What, we're doing nothing to. We're gonna lay in bed and drink lattes and watch TV. And some days he's like, but I want to go do something. And I'm like, no, we're not doing stuff today. Yeah, like, and it's, I think, can't be bored, can't stop moving, gotta, if there's spare time, we gotta fit something in there. And it's like, we're fitting in TV and lattes. That's what we're fitting in today. Like, have a nap. I don't care. Have a gummy, have an edible, and go to sleep.
Right? And that's how that's how
yeah.
I love that. I love that perspective, because I think this is what we need. We've been like force fed this crazy hustle culture, I like to call it, so long, especially as women and as moms, trying to be perfect in all these ways. And really all we've gained from it is like a really high inner critic and a lot of shame, which helps nobody. Like Brene Brown tells us, that the shame is no good.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, that we have all the technology to make our lives easier, and somehow it's become more complicated. It blows my mind thinking back when my mom had me, she had to figure out how to hit the bank in bank hours, which were work hours. Everyone managed to get there, to get their paycheck to the bank and do all their banking and pay all their bills. People can't even manage, and they have everything at the touch of their fingers because they're adding more.
Yeah, I love
Why are we adding more? Because we have all of this easy technology. Stop adding more to your plate.
I love that.
Stop adding it.
Time management. Focus on what really matters. Prioritize. I love that. It's essential.
Yeah.
So if people are hearing this and they're like, yes, this is me. Do you work with people virtually or just where you are?
I work 100% online. So I have, I work through Google Meets, but I work online, so I can help anybody pretty much anywhere as long as our schedules work out. And I mostly work with women, but men have troubles too. And if this is something that speaks to the men, I'm open to helping whoever needs what I offer, because I don't think there's much of it. I specifically struggle the skinny girl life. I know that life, but it doesn't matter your shape or size. It doesn't. it doesn't
Yeah, it's
happen.
about reforging that relationship with yourself. I love that.
Yeah.
So if people want to work with you, how can they find you, or where should, and also like if they're not ready yet, maybe like where can they start at home? So
I have a free gift that I have offered.
perfect.
It's on my website.
And we'll
So
put this in the show notes. There'll be a link in the show notes too. Sorry.
yes. So I have a 3-day trust your body guide, and it's just like a little taste. A few people are like, wow, this is a huge free gift. And I said, yeah, but it's not even the tip of the iceberg on what I get into work with. Every day there's a couple of questions about just kind of touching back in with yourself. And it's a 3-day thing. And it's something really, if you really wanted to like get to it, you could recycle it and use it over and over and over. And it's just checking in with those questions, and doing it for a week, like do that specific step for 1 week and start to get really good at noticing the little things. So I have a free gift for that. That is downloadable and PDF. You can print it off or however you want to do it. Little worksheets involved with the questions. And then, yeah, on my website, I do free consults. I have a 30-minute free
Tell
consult.
us what your
So,
website is in case people just want to hear it.
yes, it's bbnutrition.ca. And
Like what is BB, like is in boy?
like balanced being. So,
Okay,
BB
balancing.
nutrition. Yeah, balanced being nutrition, but BB. So it's not so many words.
Yep, perfect.
.ca. And I have I have a group program launching right away on, I can't remember the date. I think it's June 4th at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Is the first class, and so I have that launching right away. But I also do one-on-one work, and I do have a free consult. So if anyone wants to just reach out and see, connect and see what it's like to work together, I have that as well. So.
Beautiful. And I always ask everyone this question that comes on. So what's your like go-to self-care whenever things are like out of control? What do you do? Or
I'm
as
a
my last guest
huge
said, self-nurture. You're self-nurture. She wanted me to
self
that.
nurture.
Yeah.
Well, I recently found a local farm that does cream and stuff. So I don't buy it from the store because typically dairy bothers me. But I found this. I switched from oat milk over and I make my own lattes at home. My favorite is a lavender white chocolate mocha. And I really like to watch Netflix, or, my husband and I are reality TV junkies, either ghost adventures or true crime stuff, or any chick flick, like comedy type thing. Or when it's nice, we like to go camping. So that is go out to the wilderness where there's no signal, no Wi-Fi, no cell service. And we have a little motorhome that we did last year, and we like to spend a lot of time out in the mountains because we're from the mountain province. So that's a couple of things that I like to do. Nurturing it depends on the day. I think it just depends. Some days it's a hot bath, and some days it's sitting out in the sunshine while my dog bakes her baked potato self because she's a pit bull and she loves the sun.
Aww. I love that. I love that you make yourself like a little fancy cocktail and like do a little like guilty pleasure too, though, because that is health too. You know what I mean? Like I do some healthy things, but also sometimes just like numbing and doing something a little sweet for yourself, making yourself something fancy, showing yourself you're worth it and unplugging from
Yeah.
it. I think that's just like awesome. I love that because it's not what people would typically think of as self-nurturing, but it is a self-nurturing act that's very specific to you, and it's a beautiful example.
Yeah, I just kind of am like, what do I feel like doing? Part of my daily is self-care. It's part of my daily. So what am I going to do today? Am I going to go take my dog for a walk? Are we going to sit out in the sunshine and have a coffee? Are we going to have a bubble bath? Am I going to turn on an episode of a show that I like watching? It's just kind of like, what am I going to do? But it's also learning how to not get wrapped up in just doing self-care, because there's, things in life that we have to do. And it's easy to be like, I don't want to. And it's some days we have to anyways, but we do need to make daily self-care a thing.
I love that balance. It's so important.
And balance being.
Right. And right. Perfect. And also like, you know, that relationship with ourselves we have to nurture. So that's also
Yes.
essential. So is there anything you'd like to leave us with? It's been wonderful talking to you today. I've absolutely loved your insights. Sorry, my puppy is being annoying. But anything you'd like to leave us with today before we go?
I think just start to take a minute and just decide if it's something that's for you or if it's for somebody else. And if it's for somebody else, sit and consider if it's something that you feel in your heart you need to do, or if it's something you feel obligated. Because if you're not taking care of yourself and doing it for yourself, it's damaging. And it's we've just been taught our whole lives, especially I'm a mom, and it's like your kids and your kids and your kids, and it's like, okay, but what about me at the end of the day? What happens when my kids are gone? My oldest is turning 21 next week. Like, she pays her own bills, like we have a relationship, but I'm not her mom anymore, like we're friends now, we have a friendship, and who am I now, you know so you can't keep pushing for everybody else, because when all that disappears, what do you have left?
That's great advice. Absolutely great advice. And I think a lot of women are probably in that place right now and having these similar thoughts. And so it's a very powerful statement. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank
And
you.
if you ever have anything new launching, look us up again. I'd love to have you back and talk with you again.
Yes, I would love to do this again. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in today to this episode of Empowered Ease. I hope you found inspiration and insight in today's conversation. If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing or sharing the episode with someone you know who needs to hear an empowering story or would benefit from the empowering stories. You can also buy us a cup of coffee on our website, which goes a long way in editing the show and finding guests. For those of you that are looking for a little more and some support in reclaiming your energy and your joy, I invite you to explore my program called From Burnout to Blossoming, Reclaim Your Energy and Joy. It's a transformative journey that I walk you step by step through to help you rejuvenate and embrace your full potential and re-engage in the joy of life. So you can always visit my website, www.themoonflowercoachingcollective.com, and to learn more and sign up. And don't forget to join our vibrant community by subscribing to my newsletter. You'll gain access to a free supportive community and network of women tackling burnout. We regularly post and have conversations inside our private group. It's totally free. You'll also receive updates on the 2 free monthly workshops I do each month. I'm starting a chakra series currently, and we would love for you to join. Also, it'll help you stay in the loop with all the empowering initiatives that I'm doing at the Moonflower Collective and all the guests on the show, Empowered Ease. So together we can nurture a space where women thrive. I hope you'll join us there. Until next time, continue to empower yourself and each other, and take care of yourselves, ladies.